US and India to leading the Microsoft Accelerator program and help the startups across the world.
Hello, sir. Wonderful audience. This is my heartiest welcome to you all. I'm Krishna Chaitanya. Before we dig into the crux of matter, I would like to tell you about Publishsutra. Publishsutra is a research and consulting-based startup, and its intrinsic purpose is to bridge the gap between education and innovation by means of adding a research flavor to it. And it was a small idea on a paper when we were graduating. And because we came from a small town and we have experienced the pain points of getting right resources and finding the right mentor for research is a challenging for many students who are graduating from Tier 2 and Tier 3 engineering colleges. And we, as a small idea, participated in Telangana State Innovation Cell in 2018, where we got our wins after winning the event. And now we are so fortunate enough to say that we have trained about 1,800 students so far in research papers and helped them in touch with various professors across India. And now we are moving with the mission of one of the finest research and consulting startups and to nurture the scientific-oriented methodologies to cater the needs of organizations and students in the research ecosystem.
As you know, we are in the middle of a global pandemic. The entire world is experiencing some form of lockdown. This brings many problems, especially from high-level issues, such as the global supply chain management, especially in the medical and the personal protective equipment, some small individual issues. This is something we can relate to picking a next series on Netflix. Just kidding. So we have more issues on hand, particularly the logistical issues. For instance, providing the supplies of food, ration, and other materials to the poorest and the most isolated parts of the society. As we all know that innovation is a very critical part in this situation. For example, one can be just thinking about just wanted device or application they could be creating so that they can ensure the social distancing norms. And this will certainly help in fighting against the coronavirus. We are gathered here to do our bit and contribute so that we can help fight against the coronavirus and also various rural issues that are to be considered. So since we're stuck in our homes, the least thing we can do is just think about the problem and find an innovative solution so that we could help millions of people across India and also across the world.
Of course, innovation is only simple 10-letter word, and it is anything but simple. As fellow innovators, it's always good to have a mentor to advise on the steps and to take steps part in our innovation journey. And I feel that there is no one better than Ravi Narayan sir to guide us through this process. So we would like to interact with you, sir, and we think lots of audience can actually draw many insights out of it. And we have selected few questions from audience, sir. So I would like to go about it. So the first question that which we have received is, you have been to many countries and seen many startups and also been part of Microsoft Accelerator program. From your experience, what is the importance of innovation, particularly in the current scenario?
Krishna, thank you very much for inviting me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, we can hear, sir.
So before I answer your question, Krishna, can I give you a little bit of context as to what I'm thinking?
Yes, sure, definitely.
Sure, definitely, sir. We'd love to listen.
So the way I see it is, we have been put into a very unique situation, and it's interesting that this should happen to us in this time, and it's probably the first time in our lifetimes, maybe even our parents' lifetime, that this is something that's happening to us. And while we were, going overboard with technology, overboard with building large companies and large amount of activities that were really drawing upon the nature's resources disproportionately, and also polluting our atmosphere, and really creating such an imbalance with nature. But nature had a way to actually put the things in perspective. And so, interestingly, it's not very lethal. It's not very dangerous, as in something happens to you instantaneously. It's just the fact that if you withdraw from going after these kinds of activities that are really being poisonous, not just to nature, but to yourselves. That's when we are actually drawing upon technology once again, but this time to actually be human more than ever before and interact
Yes.
with other people, interact with our own families, interact with people like you, and it's opening up very very interesting opportunities. I would never have met you had this pandemic not been upon us. And here we are. We are in the safety of our homes, and we
Yeah.
are, able to continue to engage with each other and draw upon each other's experiences, each other's, expertise in really doing something that is meaningful, not just to ourselves, but for all of humanity. I think this is very very timely that Publishsutra has been putting this thing together. So now to come to innovation, the way I see
Yeah.
it is innovation was always there, but I think after the Industrial Revolution, what has happened is that most of the people are using technology to actually produce more, and they have to be coordinated, they have to work together, they have to be in person with each other so that the entire industry can work in a certain fashion. And even when we had technology like IT, like AI, ML, and so on and so forth, we did not take full advantage of the innovation opportunities that come along with it. We just, this is an interesting thing. We will come to it later, but our way we interacted with each other, the way we built our businesses and solutions and so on and so forth, was still in the industrial era. It was not in the information era or the artificial intelligence era. So here we are being actually pushed to really move and use the full, uh, full possibilities of technology to really do what we think is required. So, for the generation that I'm speaking to, I think one of the things that you will find out is, first of all, the education that you're getting is not going to set you up for the rest of your lives. You will have to learn something even more fundamental, which is you have to learn how to learn. And you have to learn to unlearn certain things and relearn new things. So how does that happen? There is no way you can keep on going back to school or college again and again. You will have to do a lot of these things all by yourself. So the way I would look at it is, there are multiple avenues online. There are a lot of MOOCs. There are lots of other things that you can actually reach out to and learn from there. So this is the fantastic opportunity that is available to biology, chemistry, engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. You actually will find solutions at the confluence of various different, silos. As in, let's say, for example, to find the solution for COVID-19 today, it is not that we will go to biology alone or we'll go to medicine alone. We will actually have to have doctors talking to biologists, talking to computer scientists, talking to anthropologists, talking to sociologists, and that's where you start finding the real solutions. And this is the exciting thing because none of this has really happened in the world as of today. And this is an opportunity for you to actually make this thing happen together. So I'm trying to say a couple of things here. First of all, uh, it's important for you to learn how to learn in your education. And you have to continually learn. So you probably will have 10 careers by the time you retire. You will change, and every time you learn and every time you evolve. Second thing is you have to be able to frame the problems, frame those projects or those things that you really want to do. And around that, you will go back and learn certain things because there's so much of it available online from trusted sources, from good sources. The third thing is you will have to do this primarily because there's not one single course that is being taught or single book that you can read that will provide you the entire answer. The answers will come from various different places. Therefore, innovation is something that you will have to embrace as a part of your nature going forward. And the reason is this, you know, my generation or generations before this, we were actually looking at ourselves as victims of the situation. No longer can you be the victims of a situation that has happened to you. You are actually the people who are going to solve the problems that are going to be facing that you're going to be facing. Because you may be in Warangal, you may be in Karimnagar, you may be in Khammam. You may say, "What? Oh, those are things that only Hyderabad people can solve." No, you can actually solve it.
Yes.
You have access to the knowledge, you have access to technology, just like anybody else. And on top of that, you have the same amount of brain power that anybody else has. So it is absolutely a level playing field for everybody, and therefore innovating for you is actually a birthright, and that is something that you should embrace. And this is the new era that your generation is actually going to bring to this earth. And I'm so very envious of all of you because we never got the chance to do this. So you were asking me about innovation. So
Yeah, exactly.
I used to run Microsoft for startups across the world. I used to have startups that were in China, that were in Israel, that were in Europe, that is England, Germany, and France and US, and of course India. So what I find is these are the top startup ecosystems in the world. But at the same time, these are places where technology is being used to actually solve some very very important problems. And what I find is the fundamentals that Indian brain brings. Most of the
Okay.
these entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, more than half of these startups have an Indian founder or an Indian executive of some kind.
Yes.
It
That's
is
true.
not like
Yeah.
we have the ability to solve some of the hardest problems on earth. Now,
Yes.
the same thought process, the same capabilities we already have in India. All we are doing at this point in time is making it possible for you to get very comfortable with the fact that you are also able to do that. So my job as the CEO of T Hub, my job as the Chief Innovation Officer is actually to open those opportunities to all of you so that you can actually be on the same level as anybody else in other countries. And I think you can produce some fantastic opportunities. And COVID-19 actually produces that
Yeah.
opportunity. So whatever we thought, okay, US is going to be here, and then China, and then UK or some European country, and so on and so forth. Suddenly, that whole ranking will change, and this is an opportunity for India to actually rise to the
Mhm.
top. And there's nothing stopping us from getting there. So it's incumbent on us to actually take this opportunity with both our hands and really make this thing happen.
Yeah.
That was most inspiring, sir. It was so much valuable and it got so much motivated to us.
Yeah.
Seriously. So before moving to the next question, so can you please share us few tips on to all our fellow innovators on how to identify the root cause of the problem so that we could find the innovative solution for that. So
Yeah, so see, a lot of us who are trained in technology, I'm also trained in technology. I went to an engineering school and learned engineering from there. So most of us have this tendency to think that we know better than anybody else. In fact, you know better than our own customers. And so if we build up, so what we will do is we will go ahead and start building a product. Most of my mentees, startups that I have been advising, they actually come up with very, very, very good solutions. There's absolutely no doubt it's a great solution. But what they forget is what is the problem they're trying to solve.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of times you have this hammer and you're trying to find a nail to beat it on, and there are no nails that really need your hammer. So I actually urge a lot of my startups, I urge a lot of innovators to go talk to as many people as you can, people who you think you are going to solve problems for. I'm telling you, you'll be so amazed that what you think in your mind versus what the reality is out there is so, so very different. First thing is that I would urge all of you to do is talk to as many people. Don't tell them what you will do for them. Ask them
Okay.
if you are also thinking about this problem the same way as you are thinking about it. You will find out that uh, maybe one or two of them think like you, seven or eight of them think differently. So you should be able to be humble enough to understand what they are saying, and maybe you should change your idea. You must change your hypothesis to really do what the others are thinking. Once you have locked into what they are thinking, you formulate your problem statement. I think Krishna, you had said, how do we curate it? How do you come up
Yeah.
with problem statements? So the problem statement actually comes from them, not from you. And then after you are
Okay.
very clear about the problem statement, the solution comes from you. The solution is completely
Okay.
within your control. The problem is not in your control. So you have to create that problem statement from the other people, and as crisply and as succinctly and as articulate you can, you can articulate it, the better off you are, because the best problem statements produces the best solutions.
Okay. Yeah. And we have received one more interesting question. So they said that ideas are only great when they are worked and executed. For instance, in Ramayana, Hanumanji wasn't sure about getting the correct Jadi Bhuti, but where he has executed his idea to carry whole mountain rather than go back and consult to take few wrong medicines. It all needs, strong determination and passion. In fact, many ideas stay in mind, they're never executed. In your opinion, what is your advice to the fellow innovators that how to transform an idea into an effective innovation?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting analogy that someone has come up with. I will actually add to that. So ideas
Okay.
are plenty. So I'm sure within a day's time, whenever you wake up in the morning, and from the time you go to the bathroom, take a bath, to the time you eat breakfast, to where time you go to school or college or work or whatever you do, you come up with multiple ideas. Ideas are plenty. I don't think you will find ideas being sold on Flipkart. You find any ideas being sold on Flipkart? Even if they list it, you know how to price the idea? No, because an idea is just a semblance of a beginning of a product or an innovation at some point in time. But the idea is mostly about doing something that you feel is the right thing. And what will happen is it goes through several different iterations.
Okay.
you hear me, Krishna?
Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, sir.
Komal, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we
Yeah.
can hear you now.
Okay. We need an innovation to fix this problem, yeah?
Yeah. So now moving to the next question, sir. Since you have worked closely with Telangana government, can you please tell us the few top successful innovations that you have come across so far?
So let me take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about this organization called TSIC. How many of you heard about TSIC? All of you?
Yes, we,
Yeah, Telangana.
yeah, we have heard about it.
Okay. So let me see if I can share my screen. See my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
So, Telangana is a very unique state. It is the youngest state, but is also the startup state of India. And the leaders, KTR Garu and people like Jayesh Garu, who is the principal secretary of IT, they have actually taken the opportunity not just to say, okay, let us do some things to uh, get into the IT industry and put something together. They actually went back to the basics and created an innovation infrastructure for Telangana. One of the most fundamental of this work comes from TSIC. TSIC was established in 2018, and we actually created an innovation culture and an innovation ecosystem in the state of Telangana. So we do this for student community. We do it for promoting a culture in the entire state and also in the government administration. Very, very unique. It is one thing to make
Yeah.
the government do what you want to do, but to make it innovating is even more harder. But we are actually taking that challenge on in making them innovative. So what we have done, I will just flash the screen to you, but we have done a lot of innovation in schools. There are lots of different initiatives that we have done, and more than 4,000 students and 200 teachers have been benefited. We have also done a lot of work in promoting the culture of innovation, and we have been able to really impact more than 1,000 innovators have been scouted. 120 innovators have been made ready for the next level of innovation. And then we've also been doing a lot of work in the government. So it's a very, very unique initiative that you see in Telangana. Nowhere in India have you seen something so comprehensive happening, and this is what is happening in Telangana. And so we have been working closely with various other partners. I won't go through the entire slide deck, but I would like to let you know that we are beginning to see in Telangana, because of the work that has happened in the last 2 to 4 years, that really you're beginning to see, first of all, the number of startups in the state has been increased almost by about 5 times, which is fantastic, given a very short period of time. The second thing that you see in Telangana is also the fact that several of them have moved to become national level startups. So you will see a lot of them. In fact, very, very recently, one of this company called Huwell got uh, an approval from ICMR to start developing kits to do testing in for COVID. Right? So there were six that were actually given the go ahead. Three of them were from Hyderabad. So you can imagine the amount of innovation that is coming out from this state, and this is in this context. Generally, in technology, we also have begun to see that more and more investors are coming in. More than 55% of increase of funding has come into the state. In fact, we just had one unicorn coming out of uh, Hyderabad. So you're seeing a lot of this activity happening in just a very short period of 2 to 4 years, and I think that's very telling about the kind of investment that has been made into innovation, creating this innovation culture, and now that is beginning to pay off. And this is only the beginning, I can tell you. We are probably
Mm.
only 2 to 3% of the journey. There's so much more to do and so much more to get done that it's actually a very, very
Yeah.
exciting time for us in Telangana.
So it's actually very great. So we're so proud that
Yeah.
our Telangana state is being top list and getting some new innovative ideas for the status. So moving forward
And also,
from the next question.
one more thing is that we are proud to say that our Publishsutra product is come out of from the Telangana Startup Yatra.
Yes,
So we were shined after winning the event of Telangana Startup Yatra, and we are so proud to be a part of TSIC team. And in fact, whole TSIC team always help us like in all that.
to support, we have the complete.
Yeah.
Next question. After the coronavirus is overcome, so what do you think will change in the world, and how will the innovation will help to cope with the change in this world?
See, I think the way we entered the coronavirus crisis, that normal will never come back. That's gone.
That yes,
Yeah.
If you were
Yeah.
going to restaurants and eating in a certain way, that is going to change. The way you are going to colleges and studying, that's going to change. The way you are going to be traveling to meet your friends and your family across the country, that is going to change. So nothing that you know or have thought that was normal is actually going to come back. But what will come back is a new normal. And the opportunity for people who actually begin to understand the new normal earlier, faster, and much more intricately, they are the ones who are going to come out as winners. So there's no point in lamenting that, oh my God, all those wonderful things that we used to do is not going to happen anymore. In fact, more wonderful things may actually happen going forward, right? And that's what you really need to be ready for. The human mind and the human body is such a flexible thing. It's just not even funny how adaptable our human conditions are. And we actually uh, would really really adapt very fast. I don't know, from the day one of lockdown to today, the way you were feeling that day and how are you feeling today, you have actually become very comfortable with this. It's not like it's the best situation, but it's not like your
Yeah.
body is resisting or your mind is resisting. You actually have found peace with it, right? Now,
Yeah.
step towards the new normal. After you found peace, now how do you really take the opportunity to let your mind not be anxious and worried? It actually frees up the mind to start thinking of what next. And I think the faster we can get to start thinking of what next is, what that new normal is, take advantage of it to make things happen, the faster you will actually be innovative.
Okay. That's amazing, sir. Thank you for giving such explanation. And now moving on to the next question that which we have received is that any documentary or a book or a movie that may inspire and motivate our fellow innovators. So do you want to suggest any book or documentary that you have been inspired so far in respect to the innovation?
Well, there are lots of books. There are lots of books that I've read. But let me talk about a certain author who has written, several books so far. And this is a Israeli author. He's an historian, actually. His name is Yuval Noah Harari. He's written Homo Deus. He's written Sapiens. And now he's written 21 Ideas for the 21st Century. So it's a very interesting perspective that he brings to the picture. And the reason he is able to do that is because one, he has learned about the history and the human condition, and he's also able to piece together facts about the history in such a way that he's able to talk about certain things in the future. Right? So while he's a historian, he's also talking about the future, which is very interesting perspective. At the same time, he's also not somebody who is um
Is there any problem now?
Sir, I think there was a
Your
network issue.
voice.
There is a network issue, I guess.
Sir is having.
is scary. So, given these kinds of conditions, I think it's important for us not to just be, like how things to happen. We'll say, you know what, it's getting a little bit more. I will live with this, and then the next few days later, you find out that Google, as soon as you get onto your laptop, Google is already saying that you're already late for your class. And you will be wondering, how the hell does it know that I had a class? But, the
Yes,
technology and the data is already there. So we are
that's
actually
Yeah,
true.
allowing ourselves to be led in certain directions, thinking it's okay to do that, to the point that you stop thinking. You stop, want keeping control of your own thought process, your own humanity. I think that's the important thing for us to continue to keep in mind. It's a very, very powerful set of books, powerful ideas. If you don't have time to read the book, go on to YouTube. His videos are there. Listen to them. It's very thought provoking.
Definitely, this will be helpful for all of us. We'll definitely read it for sure. So the
yeah.
next question is from the audience, and they're asking that, is there any thought on how our Telangana government will support and help to promote the innovation in general as well as the rural? So how's the innovation going to help in the rural point of view?
Yeah. So going back to my previous comment, our innovation has to happen at all levels.
Yeah.
While people thought, oh, innovation or the ability to innovate only stays with Hyderabad or such large places, I think there is no restriction on where innovation can actually take place. In fact, as you pointed out in your note to me earlier, the innovation happens where the problem is and where the problem statement can be well defined. So if it is something that a farmer in a village is facing, and has the probably the best ability to solve for it. And some of the rural innovators that TSIC works with don't necessarily have a formal education, leave alone technology that they are actually using to solve this problem. We take it for granted that one, you have to be educated to innovate, and second, you should understand technology enough to innovate. No, if you actually are really caught up with the problem statement that you have, be it in the rural space or be it in some other place, it doesn't matter. You will find a solution because you are actually the person who's going to make that happen. So, rural innovators are being sourced actively by TSIC. As I showed you on the screen, several hundreds of them have been sourced. We actually went out and we talked to them in the media, both at the state level and at the city level, now at the national level. So we are really trying to show that Telangana has a fair share, probably a disproportionate share of innovators coming out of that state. Now, what we are looking to do in our next stage of TSIC is actually take them, hold their hands, and help them build it into an industry and really take
Okay.
it and make something out of it. Either they become entrepreneurs and do a startup, or they actually go and build an industry that will, be the next generation of manufacturers, next generation of industrialists are actually going to come from the rural innovators of the state. So we are actually doing a lot of this kind of work. So now, while these are the people that are really going down this path of innovation, we are also trying to showcase these people as role models for the rest of the community. So, um, our TSIC team has come up with a very unique initiative called Intinta Innovator. I don't know if you've heard of that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Every
we've heard
Yeah,
about it.
we heard it.
We heard about it.
every home as an innovator. Every day we are trying to showcase an innovator and so on and so forth. So obviously, applauding innovation, really celebrating innovation is always a good thing. But the next thing for us is to actually make it completely acceptable as a as part of the society, right? So let's say Krishna, Komal, you're all people, you're innovators, you're becoming innovators. But
Yeah.
sometimes what
Yes,
happens is
Krishna.
you're actually caught up with the idea of innovation, but you think this is a hobby. No, I have to go find a job really to make my living. Innovation is just a hobby.
Yeah,
No, actually, innovation is going to be the way of life. How do we make it so that you don't think of this as a hobby, but this is your passion, this is your life going forward? That is what we are trying to encourage people to do. Obviously, we have to get more and more resources to make that happen, but also societally, it has to become much more acceptable. So let's say Krishna is now got a good education. Obviously, the next thing his parents will say is go get a
oh,
good
good
job.
job.
Then that's
Yes,
only then you will find a good bride, right? And otherwise they will not. So see what the fathers-in-law or the mothers-in-law are always saying, if I'm giving my child in marriage, I want to make sure that they have a good life. So
yeah,
innovation for them is not a good life. At least it's very topsy-turvy, very risky. Why should they really try to do that? Because there is there is no financial stability coming from that. So
that's true.
while we have done the initial thing about Intinta Innovators, I think the next set of programs that we'll do is Intinta Innovators Mavaya, Intinta Innovator Attaya. So that is the next.
Oh,
Really,
that's
everybody to get embrace innovation.
it's
Because
so
the next
character,
generation
yeah.
they embrace innovation.
That's
That that
awesome, sir. I
that
mean, like, it's
that's
just
great,
connecting. Yeah.
sir. I mean, everybody
Uh,
is enjoying this. Everybody is getting to know about the innovations that have been made by the Telangana government. So basically, as
and
we all know
also,
that we are here for the I Innovate Hackathon, so I just want to give a small description of what this I Innovate Hackathon is. So basically, I Innovate Hackathon is considered to be one of the Telangana's longest online hackathons. So here, we have created a platform for all the innovators so that they not only focus on finding the problems, but also finding the feasible solutions to those problems. So the people, they're going to find the problems in their locality and come with an innovative solution in this. So with this, sir, I would like to request our Ravi Narayan sir to formally launch the I Innovate Hackathon so that the people would be aware about it.
How would you like me to
Komal,
do that?
I think
So just, we have a poster. We have a
we
poster
have,
here.
Komal,
So,
you can share it on your screen, I think.
uh, Krishna, you can do that because
I should give the permission to Komal.
Actually, I'm not the presenter. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Komal, you want to
Or else,
present anything? I will
You
give
want me to
permission.
do
ma'am,
something?
you can pass the host to me, ma'am. Presenter to me,
Host,
Krishna.
Okay, okay. To Krishna? Yes, yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, I will. You can share your screen now.
Yeah.
I made you as a present.
Then, yeah, this one. Yeah. So this is it, where we're going to launch our hackathon, and where thousands of people are going to participate in this.
All right, very nice, very
Yeah.
exciting.
I think I'll just
Thank
thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah.
It's really, really
I
exciting.
think now it's time to, e- yeah, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Sorry to cut down.
No, no, I'm just saying this is a very exciting initiative that all of you are doing. I wish you the very best. Wish all of you who are participating in this to take this as a initial step towards, taking control of how you're going to shape your lives as innovators. This is just a test,
Yeah.
but whatever you learn from here, make it your lifelong learning going forward, and you're going to do
Sure,
some
sure, sure.
wonderful
Definitely, sir.
things going forward.
Definitely.
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely, sir.
and I think one last question, sir. Sorry to interrupt. Like we have received it from the audience. How design thinking is relates to the innovation? How is it crucial in the innovation part?
Well, what I initially talked about is going and talking to multiple people, getting to understand from their worldview as to what is the world really looking like. What is the best thing that you can do? So people call it design thinking as well. So how do you
Yes,
really do design thinking, as in designing based on the world that is really out there? So I think that's a very crucial part of it. I mean, this is very integral. So you can't innovate without design thinking. So make sure that you learn the tenets of design thinking. It becomes a very important thing for you. I think it's not just for innovation. It is for life in general. I think you need to learn design thinking. Tell you why. If you are giving a speech like this, that the talk like that I'm giving you, if you don't know your audience and you're just going to be talking about whatever you think is right, people on the other side are not getting any value out of it, then obviously your speech is not going to be that well received.
that's true.
Similarly,
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
if you are going to be working in a organization, you think what you're doing is most valuable and this is the important thing. The other people do not understand what is it that and you don't take the time to understand what they're doing. You just continue to do what you're. Obviously, that you're not going to be very successful. So I think it's important for you always to understand who you are talking to, who you're working with, who you are innovating for, and that understanding always sets you up for success. Even in marriage, getting to know what your spouse is wanting, and therefore making sure that you're keeping that in mind will also make your marriage successful, right? So I think it's important in
Yes,
every aspect of life.
that's
Yeah.
great, sir.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there is
Uh,
a interesting question. A student is asking me basically. So he's just asking me that what will be the effect of this corona on the IT people? So how it is going to affect the IT sector?
Well, I think IT sector is going to probably be the most nimble of the sectors, just because first of all, we are already using technology to do a lot of the work that we are doing today. So when the work from home thing came about, a lot of us already had, laptops. Even if we didn't bring laptops from office, we had laptops at home. We knew how to do conferencing like this. This is not something that was uncommon
Yes,
to us. We were
that's
doing this
true.
anyway. So a lot of us felt the IT sector pretty much uh, went into this thing. Of course, the thing that is problematic for them is that they are doing a lot of work at home now, not just work from home, but actually work at home. That is
Mhm.
the problem. But as soon as some of these things are lifted, I think people will go back with even more gusto and start doing a lot more than they have been doing in the past. Primarily because, well, first of all, I think India has, some unique talent, some very, very good IT talent to begin with. Now, in addition to that, we are also beginning to see that there is also innovators or entrepreneurs who are building some
Mm.
of the one of the best startups across the world. And imagine some great talent within the company collaborating with an entrepreneur from a startup, and together they start building the
Yes.
next generation of products. It's a a ready-made opportunity for us to leapfrog into the global stage in a much bigger way than what we have done in the past. So I don't think it's a bad thing at all for us. Obviously, we will probably get there slowly, but we'll get there surely.
Okay. I think we should end up with one last question, sir. I think people are, of course, excited to meet you all. So the last question is that, is there any scope of new innovations from the agriculture sector because of this COVID-19, in specific to agriculture sector? How innovations can take up?
Oh, I think the scope for innovation in agriculture is immense. We have a huge need to innovate in the agriculture sector. Uh, the problem that we've had so far is that the land parcels that the farmers work on are very small. They can't afford to do anything beyond, the regular sustaining amount of activities. There's so much more that they can do. If you really look at a country like Israel, Israel actually has probably one of the most barren lands that you can find. They just found that land and they have made it very, very productive. They are the ones who innovated with drip irrigation. They were the ones who really innovated on some of the fertilizers. The way they went about creating all these innovations. We have this unique opportunity here. While there are lots of farmland, there is a lot of opportunities to do precision agriculture, drones. There are drones that talk to cloud, and therefore there is so much of data that's already available. We can, use IT to the extent where we can predict rains. We know when to plant, when to harvest, how much fertilizer to put, how much groundwater there is underneath under the ground. So all of these things are something that we can, predict. It's not done, through just intuition. Well, intuition also works to a large extent, but it is supplemented by a lot of technology. I think you can do so much more and really create a much larger throughput or agricultural sector. And I think that it's just ripe for innovation at this point in time.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. You have shared valuable insights on how one has to think innovatively within the situation. So, with a great pleasure, I would like to give special thanks to all the organizations who helped us with this initiative. A special thanks to Telangana State Innovation Cell, Telangana Information Technology Association, TUMAX, IEEE Hyderabad Section, Cult Warangal, Literacy Helping Hands, Asia INC 500, Cloudchip Technologies Private Limited, Valmiki Foreign Education Services, Genesis Technologies, Workmina Private Limited, Akshara Group, Manantram Human Welfare Council, SocioCharge, Mahaviki, Talk, and Nivahanta Private Limited. These all have come together and supported us so that we could initiate this hackathon. So we'd like to thank everybody out here.
Thank you.
And
Wonderful.
thank you, sir. And also, just for a few minutes, like I would like to list out the rules and guidelines for the hackathon. In fact, we'll be sharing it on the separate mail. So the registration process is started right now. We'll be sharing a registration link, and you can just go to that publishsutra.com, where you can get all the hackathon details and the timelines in the website itself. And we are focusing on, so people are questioning that, is there any need of getting the problem statements rather than coming up with a generalized problem? So in specific, we are continuing, so there is no need of coming up with, I mean, like you can come up with your own problems in your society rather than coming up with the generalized problems.
So basically, you can include what all the issues or challenges you're facing during COVID or any kind of general issue you want to include.
Yes. And also, this is the longest hackathon ever in India, and the dates of the hackathon are from 25th to 30th, the registration process starts, and on 30th morning 9 a.m. the registration is ends, and there will be a first phase of hackathon. It starts at 9 a.m. sharp on 30th, and it ends at 9 a.m. on the 1st May. It's a 24-hour hackathon. During this hackathon, there will be a mentors who will be interacting with you and assessing with you, and who can help. So after submitting your problem statements with us, mentors will assign to you with your respective problems, and they can guide you through the process. And on 3rd May, we'll be announcing the results of the selection from the first phase, and those participants will be moved to the final phase of the application, and the finale will happen on 5th, and the results of the finale will be released on 5th. So in the first phase of hackathon, we are essentially focusing on the ideas. And in the second phase of hackathon, that is for the finales, we are expecting to develop a minimum viable product out of it. So this was the theme, and you can just come up with only ideas. We are exclusively focusing on ideas rather than, developing the product, because we have participants from across the India. Yeah.
Yes, we want everybody to just think out of box and just give the innovative idea and show your talent to the world. This is all we can say. So all the best, everybody. Hope you're all doing great.
Annie ma'am, would you like to talk to the innovators?
I just would like to wish all of them the best, and look at every problem and as an opportunity to solve it. That is my only wish to all of them. And a secret lies where they actually think through a problem as an opportunity to solve it. Okay, so you can go ahead. And I think there is something which Sri Lakshmi would like to talk about IEEE. So we may ask ma'am to just kindly, go ahead and speak. Post this, Casey, if you still have anything, we can still continue. Yeah.
Sure.
Ma'am is not there. I can take on.
Sure, please. Sure. Akhil,
So hello
please.
everyone. This is Akhil. People, if you don't know me, I work in emerging technologies as a fellow IT department, and also EXCO member in IEEE Hyderabad section. So in IEEE, we do a lot of research and knowledge sharing, and we are glad that we partnered with TSIC. Ma'am, are you on?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Your audio is little bit low.
Okay, so I just want to mention regarding IEEE and benefits of it. Like if people who are there in IEEE and who are not there, they must be aware that right from Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, it has been updated, and it has been recovered in lot of ups and downs by IEEE guys itself. So any kind of research and innovation in tech part is always taken up by IEEE teams all over the world. So if people who want to explore IEEE, they can just Google IEEE.org, and they can see what are the use cases of being a member in IEEE, and what are the exposures you can get by connecting and meeting with lot of people. And pleasure to have Krishna, like from Publishsutra, and Annie Garu, and giving me this opportunity. And all the best to all of you.
Thank you so much, Akhil, for that. In fact, we would like to thank the whole IEEE organization for being a technology partner, and who in fact provided the Cisco WebEx platform for us to support in the Telangana's longest hackathon. And also we would like to specially thank to all the, in specific to Akshara groups, because almost they have 22,000 employees, and out of which like 1,000 employees I would like to contribute their innovations, and they have fully participated and they started submitting their solutions. And thank you so much, Ravinder Rao sir and Srinivas Rao sir, and yeah. And I think there are few questions that are coming out from the audience perspective. So do you have any questions with respect to the hackathon? And
Yeah, if there are any questions, we can just clear it now.
so you can just take a picture this poster on your mobile, so screenshots where we have a registration link over here, and where
And we
we'll be
also
having
have the contact details.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out at innovate.telangana@gmail.com. Yeah, we have. Sure, I think. Is there any questions we have, like regarding the event? I hope most of the questions that which we have received so far is that how to frame the problem statements, and one more thing that which we have received is that, is there any restrictions for the problem statements? No, there is no such restrictions in the problem statements. You can come up with your own problem statements that you are seeing in your society, and the whole TSIC and TITA and all the helping organizations are ready to support you in all the aspects, and there are exciting opportunities to the best ideas for the finale.
And you can give any idea for the problem. So whatever the idea or whatever the problem you are telling is, can be related to this, your society or locality, whatever the issues you're facing. So this was a question asked by a student. So I'm just telling you can choose any idea you want for any kind of problem. So are there any other questions where you would like to interact with us? Because we are available right now.
So we'll be sending a separate emails to everyone who have
all
registered, all the students. Yeah, and where we'll be sending you the rules and guidelines of the hackathon. And one more question we have received is that, is there any restrictions for forming a team? And there is no age group in forming a team. One can form with irrespective of the age group. There is no need of education background and restrictions. And the minimum size of the team is minimum 1 or 2, maximum of X max is the 5. So you can form your own teams and start building your solutions.
Basically, you can also be an individual student to participate, or you can be in a team. So it is not necessary that there should be a team. You can individually play into this competition or play as a team of maximum 5 people to be included.
Yeah. And we'll be sharing guidelines at the end of the session. And in fact, many of the we have received almost 1,500 registrations so far, and most of the audience was able to connect to the webinar. And we'll be recording this session, and we'll be hosting this session in the YouTube, and we'll be sharing so that all the participants will have an idea of the hackathon and in specific innovation. I think.
So hope everybody's clear with this competition. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity so that we could connect with you.
In specific, thank you so much, Annie ma'am, for trusting us to reach
And
this initiative
Srilakshmi
in the
ma'am.
bigger level.
Sri Lakshmi ma'am, Akhil sir, everybody, thank you so much for supporting in this webinar.
And I would like to thank whole Publishsutra team, Rahul, Sai Teja bro, and everyone here. Yeah, everyone will be receiving the, and are we going to receive any participation? Yeah, everyone will be receiving a participation certificates, and there will be exciting opportunities in respect to internships, and in respect to if the one idea is really potential, they'll actually eligible for a 3-month incubator program, which will be happening in the collaboration with Telangana State Innovation Cell and Publishsutra in specific to design thinking and critical thinking, where that will help you to in terms of build how to research your own product and to reach into the market. So thank you so much, Anima, and thank you everyone. Thank you TSIC, and thank you Ravi Narayan sir, and thanks to all the helping organizations over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Shall we end the session now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Everything is done.
All the very best.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.